that's the big data sets is running the GeoServer and then so on. But it is efficiently designed, and you configure those GeoServer, and then how efficient is really works. That's what we expected. The GeoServer and GeoServer communication with the both GIS database and build the services and then inject the services into the your it's very simple HTML page and JavaScript page, and then this works automatically. So it's very simple there. You see the primary road, we will talk about that one. This is the city areas, so how congested the city, the networks. You can see the network also from all informations. You see the what we expected. It's a little bit slower for the server, the OpenLayers server, but you see the impression of like how efficient it is coming, the thousands of thousands networks informations and from the GeoServer. So you have set some POS because there is no service, that I said, there's no service defined into the your GeoServer. That's why it's like empty something. So maybe same thing happen here, roads information something here, and there is nothing defined into the use service level. So that's I mean. So there's nothing defined. See the nothing is defined here. That's why it's not coming what we expected. It is not defined. That's I talking about detail about that's this thing together. How can we do? Why it's not coming? And this is the idea to give it this tutorial information. So let's let's cover this one. So and you have a lot of possibility here. The same thing here. You can draw the polygons and then so on so forth, and then even though you can draw the lines and then so on so forth, even though you can draw the points and so on. So some event functionalities is still missing, then we need to be continued. That's one. So that's I mean. So and the same thing here, but here can printing functionalities. Here can print the maps. That's we already added it in here. Let's take the preview for the maps. Well, let's load some informations. So with the maps, it is working. The printing functionalities. Yes, this is the printing functionality exactly working. That's we expected. So this is the one we tried to discuss with you, and then how can you build those functionalities with a very simple HTML, CSS, and very simple JavaScript library with the OpenLayers and with the OpenStreetMaps, Google Maps APIs, and then so on and so forth. This is the all together that I try to cover it. Let's have a look the source code, what we have and how we need to discuss. So we know that this is our project structure, all the developments that we need, and all the libraries that we need. JavaScript library you need to write down yourself, and then you have some HTML, very simple HTML page that we already talk about this one. So this is very simple. Let's open the very simple HTML page into the notepad, and then and then this is the application that we are talking about. We are trying to discuss this one. So you see the pictures, like you see in the page, like say the urban management HTML, that's in the we have it in here, urban management HTML, very simple HTML, and this is the very simple HTML that's we have in other applications, other means. That's the here. No, not this one. Sorry. This one. So you see the GSM global GSM global mobile communication systems. This is the one of the big HTML, very simple HTML, because this was a two part of the application, the requirements from the specification. That's like show only the maps and the stations where they're located and where the mobile station located and how the share of this. This is in the application. Just like in the visualizing or presenting and the existing GIS data set into the your web pages, where exactly located in the networks and also on so forth. This is the like combining all your existing data set, build your web application and visualize and presenting your GIS and GIS and non-GIS data sets. That's the application that we are talking about this one. So, and then we have already talk about detail about how can you start the very simple web GIS and very simple JavaScript functions written, and then this is all thing dynamically build the station, dynamically build this links, and then dynamically build the points and the link stations. All are very simple. Just you need to be learn, understand from the very basic JavaScript that I already show you the screen in my channels, that very beginner course from the JavaScript and JavaScript framework, and then you start the how can you write down your own JavaScript functions and integrate those JavaScript functions into the your HTML page. If you look this page, you see that I have all the JavaScript functions here. I integrate the JavaScript functions that it is doing, just like build a very simple point back to polygons, very simple polygons, such as a latitude longitude input, and build transform the projection system from the Google and the OpenStreetMap. This is the meter and degree, minute, seconds, and meter scale transformation need to, because we are using both maps, Google OpenStreetMaps and Google Maps. That's we need to transformations, and we build a very simple HTML page. Just that's enough. The very simple JavaScript functions, and then you call the JavaScript functions here and call the very simple. You see that there is only very small line of code of HTML page, and all the business logic in down level is done. That's I said I already discussed this whole functionalities. You can go to the previous screencast and look for how can you design, and I am continue also this part, how can you really continue and develop those complex and complicated functionalities. So we will talk about this one, graph functions, and then we have a TS, the complete JavaScript functions, and then so on so forth, all things together. Now, all JavaScript functions that's we written here, you see that the JavaScript function here. So it's a complete JavaScript functions. How can you load all the type of the Google Maps, from the hybrid map, terrain maps, satellite maps, and then how can you add those maps into your layers, and then all things all really works. And how can you call your JavaScript library that's you written down you into the you here. So all the JavaScript function, you set the coordinate latitude, longitude, call the latitude, longitude, and you build your points, and you build your lines, you build your polygons, and so on, and add the line string, and then so on so forth. It is very simple, simple JavaScript function is written, but it is not very simple. That's my understanding. It is complex, but you need to understand how you can start the JavaScript programming. It doesn't matter in the Web GIS programming or very simple JavaScript programming for developing the very simple web pages or web development. That's you need to learn, but it is a little bit complex because of the geo functionalities and all third parties library calling like OpenLayer, Leaflets, other graph libraries and other libraries. That's why it's a little bit complex, but I believe you can get it if you follow the every step of my implementation of our implementations, and you get really proper idea of what you mean. And if you got it, then I believe you really have a professional, really you can do really good professions with the good professional work with the web GIS and web developments, web mapping programming. Doesn't matter which technology stack you are, you just do it. That's I believe you can do it. Just follow and you can get it properly. So, and that's now we see that how can you develop the JavaScript functions, and then you can see the external CSS files, how can you call the external CSS files, and then build your very simple web applications, and then a web GIS application, and do on so on so forth. And you see that they're the very simple printing functions like Windows print functions. I use it here for very simplicity reason. So this is the issue today I try to discuss with you. This is really most important. How can I start? I don't know. Maybe I can I can formulate different way. Let's say you learn little bit OpenLayers. You know how the OpenLayers works. So what you need to do, just you just